As newly elected legislators, we believe it's imperative to reform government so it works for the people, not the other way around. And I also want to note that today we're talking about a number of reforms: regulatory reform, criminal justice reform, occupational licensure reform. And so I'm thrilled to have as my guest today constituent Mark Bates, who is back here. Mark, raise your hand. Mark is a returned citizen who is also a licensed barber in my district, who's phenomenal at what he does, and I've learned from him about this issue, as well as other constituents, friends, and stakeholders throughout our communities and the state of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has too much red tape. We've got too many outdated regulations that hold back businesses and workers. We have archaic rules governing occupational licensure, as well as probation and parole. We've got, in Pennsylvania, you can't even braid hair without a license. There are just too many outdated regulations that need to be updated. And so it makes it very difficult for small business owners, employees, and returning citizens to pursue their American dream and achieve success for them and their families. And so I'm excited to partner across the aisle with Representative Kenyatta and over 20 of our fellow colleagues to introduce a new proposal for Pennsylvania. So we're announcing this bill. It's the Fighting Chance Act. It is modeled after legislation in Virginia that they passed last year from an overwhelmingly bipartisan basis. It was signed into law, and what our bill does, modeled after that bill, it requires agencies, it's a pilot program that requires agencies in Pennsylvania over 3 years to reduce their regulations by 25%. And the targeted agencies are the Board of Probation and Parole, as well as occupational licensure. So basically, these agencies that a lot of people have to go through a lot of hurdles to get into the workforce, whether you're an employee, a worker, a small business owner, or someone coming out of the criminal justice system who has paid your debt to society, this is going to make it easier and lessen the barriers to getting into the workforce. In Virginia, they passed this overwhelmingly, and it's had massively successful results. They have been catapulted now to the number 4 state in the nation to do business in, ranked by CNBC, and also within a year they identified 1,200 unnecessary regulations to cut. 1,200 within 1 year. So we see this as a way for agencies to self-identify regulations that are still on the books, that are outdated, that need to be updated, innovated, modernized, or just eliminated. And so our bill allows them to do that, and even mandates such to make sure that our citizens can pursue their American dream. I have a friend that when I was in the military for almost 10 years, and I went to Iraq, and one of the guys that I went to basic training with and to Iraq with, he had gotten in trouble after he got out of the service, and he ended up in prison for quite a while. And when he got out, he had nowhere to turn, and he was at the end of his rope, and he called me and said, I want to come to Pennsylvania. I want to start my life over, and I want to turn over a new leaf. Is there anything you can do to help? There was nowhere for him to go, no jobs for him to get or anything. And so I said, yeah, come to Pennsylvania. And I helped him get a job, and we have a construction business. And he has turned his life around. He has a new chapter. He's one of our best workers. His story is like so many other stories across Pennsylvania, including Mark's story, who completely turned his life around, is a productive and contributing member to society, a key part of our communities. And there are so many people across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania who will achieve success, who will achieve their American dream, who will be so beneficial in our communities. All they need is a fighting chance. And so our bill will begin to make that happen. So we're very excited about it. It does so many things to make Pennsylvania. It is better. It's a regulatory reform bill. It's a criminal justice reform bill. It's an occupational licensure reform bill. Ultimately, it's a government reform bill. And even more than that, it's a chance for both parties to work together across the aisle, put people before politics, and enact meaningful change to benefit the people we serve.